As amusing as it is to chat with this oddball, I think we've exhausted his usefulness at the moment.
Who's a pretty bird?
Raise up.
Probably want to...
No.
Pieces of... Who's a... So long. Doctor, may I ask you a few questions?
Please be my guest.
Tell me what you know about Jean Dupre.
I'd rather not speak of him. Madame Dupre does not need to be agitated any further.
I take it you don't look very favorably upon him, then.
I'll just say this. If my wife had been attacked and left for dead, you can be sure I wouldn't leave her side.
What a gentleman. He doesn't even leave women who aren't his wife.
I see what you mean. Do you know where I might find him?
I only wish I did.
Those are all the questions I've got for now.
I hope I answered them adequately.
Hello again, Miss Montgomery. Mind answering a few more questions?
Hello, Mr. Fordham. Not at all.
Is there anything you can tell me about your stepfather, Jean?
He's a kind man. I don't really see him too often. He seemed rather upset at Mother's funeral, but I can't help but wonder if he feels the same way as I do about her death.
What do you mean?
Just that I get the distinct impression that he and Mother's marriage isn't as perfect as they'd like it to appear.
I'm starting to sense a trend here.
Your brother told me that Jean enjoys hunting. Do you know where his cabin is?
Yes, it's in Fenton Swamp. I went out there with him a few times, but I didn't really enjoy it. Frankly, the place is rather grotesque. All those stuffed trophies staring at you with their cold, dead eyes. Plants are much nicer to have around. Anyway, if you take the main road through the swamp about 1.5 miles, you'll come upon a small dirt path that goes northeast. Take that until you see a small cabin on the left. That's it.
Thank you for the information, Miss Montgomery. No more questions for now.
Then if you don't mind, I have work to do.
Hello? Is anyone here?
Strange of Dupre to leave the door unlocked. Maybe it means he'll be returning soon.
Let's see if Jean has anything interesting in here.
Not very much, except a letter. Satchels, boxes, and other assorted boring things for hunting. It seems Mr. Dupre is a Bollingworth man. Maybe he's not so bad after all. I had a nasty run-in with an alligator when I was a child. One less in the world doesn't really bother me, to be honest. Some high society type in the middle of a hunt. I don't understand why anyone would get a thrill out of murdering innocent creatures. Not a very dignified end for our friend Mr. Bear. Satchels, box... You really have to wonder about someone who chooses to surround themselves with dead things. One of the guns is missing. Jean must be out using it currently.
Who the hell are you? What are you doing in my cabin?
Jean Dupre, I presume?
Yes, that's right. Who are you?
Miles Fordham, private investigator. I'm looking into the attempted murder of your wife.
Oh, yes. Yes, of course. Forgive my rudeness, but you startled me.
Perfectly understandable, Mr. Dupre.
This is a man whose bark is most definitely worse than his bite.
Can we talk, Mr. Dupre?
I suppose so. Yes.
What can you tell me about Madame Dupre?
Oh, my dear wife. The past few days have been just awful for all of us.
Yes, I can imagine. How long have you been married?
For 7 wonderful years. Laura and I are just as much in love now as we were on the day we married.
Lord, does he actually expect anyone to believe that nonsense?
You'll pardon me for being so frank, Mr. Dupre, but why are you out hunting and not at your wife's side?
Excuse me? Who are you to lecture me on my marriage?
A fellow married man, that's who. Your wife has just suffered a very traumatic ordeal. Shouldn't you be at home caring for her?
But with all the confusion at the house with the police investigating and her being attended to by her doctor, I just needed to get away for a bit. Surely you can understand, Mr. Fordham.
There's something off about this guy, Miles. He's definitely hiding something, and for once, I don't think it's from his wife.
Do you know anything about the circumstances surrounding Madame Dupre's death?
Horrible. Simply horrible.
Do you have any idea why Mr. Martin might have attempted to kill her?
Mr. Martin? You mean the boys they arrested? Andrew said it's because Martin and his mother are witches who prey on the well-to-do. You only need to take one look at him to see his trouble. It's a shame they put him away so quickly. I'd have liked to teach him a lesson or two, believe you me.
Yeah, right. A lesson on how to cower in the corner, most likely.
I suppose it goes without saying that you enjoy hunting, Mr. Dupre?
Yes, I do. I consider myself something of an outdoorsman, you see. It's nice to be able to go out and get some fresh air after being sat at the bank all day.
What about your home life?
Truth be told, I'm not at home as often as I'd like to be. I've been trying to make more time, but something usually comes up. Business is business, after all.
Yeah, but what business are we talking about here exactly?
What can you tell me about your stepchildren?
Andrew and Juliet? I see a bright future ahead for both of them.
What's your relationship with them like?
It's fine. Why do you ask?
I got the distinct impression from both of them that they hardly ever see you.
Well, yes, I suppose that is true. We don't spend much time together. But they're both so busy with school, I don't want to get in their way. Not to mention my job keeps me away from home for considerable periods of time.
Excuses, excuses. I get the feeling Mr. Dupre avoids his family on purpose. But why?
Do you know anything about Madame Dupre trying to get Juliet taken out of her classes at the university?
Yes. Laura didn't approve of her daughter's desire to further her education. So, she sent a letter to the university requesting Juliet's withdrawal. I didn't approve of her trying to meddle in Juliet's affairs. If she wants to study, she should be free to do so. I wrote them a letter myself, without Laura's knowledge, telling them to disregard the previous request for withdrawal.
That's very good of you.
Yes, well, I dislike seeing people being told what they can and can't do by others.
Yet, he seems perfectly willing to employ servants at his home. Well, I suppose we're all hypocrites in one way or another.
I'll be going now.
Au revoir, Mr. Fordham.
Hello again, Miss Montgomery. Mind answering a few more questions?
Hello, Mr. Fordham. Not at all.
Did your mother try to get you withdrawn from the university?
As a matter of fact, she did. Just another one of the many ways she tried interfering with my life.
What happened, exactly?
Mother wrote the university requesting that I be withdrawn. I found out about it when the enrollment office contacted me. I couldn't believe it at first. I thought it was some sort of mistake, but then they showed me the letter.
I take it you were upset.
More than upset, Mr. Fordham. I was furious. I was trying to make a real life for myself. One that wasn't about dresses or debutante balls or fending off suitors. I'd been given the chance to make something of myself, and Mother was ready to bring it all crashing down, just because she didn't agree with it.
But in the end, you're still here.
Yes, Jean stepped in and fixed everything. He didn't have to do it, but it was very good of him. I'm afraid that was the beginning of the end of my relationship with Mother. We never really managed to fix things after that.
No more questions for now.
Then if you don't mind, I have work to do.
Oh, Mr. Fordham, you're back.
We haven't got anything else to ask him about right now. You know, I've heard it said that needing to have so many guns is a sign of overcompensation.
Pardon me, miss.
What?
I'm Miles Fordham.
Oh, I'm sorry. What?
Juliet told me about you.
Miss Juliet?
Yes, I spoke to her at the university. She mentioned you two were friends.
Yes, that's right. She's always been so good to me.
Look, Amelie, I'm just trying to get some information. And I have a feeling you can be very helpful if you'd just let me talk to you.
All right, fine. But do it as fast as you can.
Tell me about Madame Dupre.
Oh, I really shouldn't, sir.
It would greatly help my investigation if you did.
Madame Dupre was kind enough to hire me as her cook. It's hard to get jobs in the city. Lots of people want their servants to use those new machines. My sister's brother-in-law got half his leg blown off by one of those new ovens. He's lucky he wasn't killed. So I'm plenty happy working here doing real people's work. But Madam can be difficult sometimes.
Difficult? What do you mean by that?
No, I said enough.
What do you know about Madame Dupre's supposed death?
All I can tell you is that whoever did it really hated her.
Do you know Albert Martin, the man accused of the crime?
No, I'm sorry.
What can you tell me about Andrew?
He ain't so bad. Kinda spoiled, but he mostly cleans up after himself. Has a whole private part of the house, but I think he only uses one room. Better for me, way less to clean.
What do you know about Juliet?
She was always so kind to me and the others, but her mother don't like that one bit. Still, she sneaks down into the kitchen to keep me company some nights. Even though she's a good soul, I think part of her does it just to spite her mother.
Anything you can tell me about Jean?
I hardly ever see him, only at dinner. He's scared of Madam, and so he finds any reason to get out of the house and stay away as long as he can.
Scared of her?
Oh, it's true. You should see him when they're in private, like a shamed puppy that dirtied the carpet.
Interesting.
Do you have any idea why Jean is so afraid of Madame Dupre?
If he's seen the same things we have, then yes.
What kind of things?
No, I spoke out of turn. Forget I said anything.
Amelie, listen to me. A potentially innocent man's life is on the line. If I don't find out who attacked Madame Dupre, he's as good as dead. So if there are any facts or details you know that I don't, you need to tell me.
I can't.
You can. I'm not with the police. If Madame Dupre did something wrong, I'm not going to look the other way. Trust me, I'm on your side.
Madam beats the servants. I think she even does it for fun. I hear the screams sometimes. I don't know how anyone else in the family doesn't. Maybe they do and just ignore it, I don't know. But if Mr. Dupre knows what she do, it explains why he's so scared of her.
Did Madame Dupre ever abuse you?
No, I was lucky, but some of the others weren't.
Like who? I need details, Amelie.
The old gardener, Guy Dumas, and one of the maids, Celine. I saw Madame going after them the most. Don't know what they did to deserve it, but I would see her walk by in a rage, whip in one hand and a book in the other.
A book? What book?
Oh, I don't know. I can't read, so I don't know what it said on the cover. But it's the same color as the stew spice I always use. Don't know what she used it for, but she always had it with her, just before a beating.
Tell me more about Guy and Celine.
They were deeply in love with each other. I used to hear them talk about how they wanted to run away together.
What happened to them?
I don't know. One day they were here, and then one day they weren't.
Do you think Madame Dupre may have done something to them?
I couldn't say for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if she had. Please, let's not talk about this anymore.
Are you the only remaining servant here?
No, there's another one, Marcel. He's the new gardener. I haven't seen him in a few days, though. Not since before Madame's incident.
Thank you, Amelie. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Now please, let me get back to work.
I have some questions for you.
All right.
Did you know Guy Dumas?
The old gardener? Sure, I knew him. We didn't talk very much. He was just a servant after all, but he seemed like a nice man. He stopped coming around about 2 months ago. Too bad, really. He did a good job of keeping the gardens looking nice. The new one is all right, but he just doesn't have that special touch Guy did.
Were you familiar with a servant named Celine?
Yes, I believe she was one of the maids. I didn't talk to her very much. Oh, she quit not so long ago. At least I assume she did. I haven't seen her in about 3 months.
Thanks for your time.
My pleasure.
Doctor, may I ask you a few questions?
Please be my guest.
Tell me what you know about Jean Dupre.
I'd rather not speak of him. Madame Dupre. I hope.
Hello again, Miss Montgomery. Mind answering a few more questions?
Hello, Mr. Fordham. Not at all.
Do you know Guy Dumas?
Yes, he was one of our servants. He used to enjoy reading my books, as well as Andrew's.
When did you see him last?
Just last week, he came by to see me and asked to borrow some books.
Do you know where I might be able to find him?
Not really. I get the impression that he moves around frequently. But I can tell him you're looking for him next time I see him, if you like.
Please do. Although hopefully I'll be able to find him before then. Were you friends with Celine, the maid?
Yes, I was quite fond of Celine. She was so sweet and interesting to talk to. One day, she just left the house with no explanation. Mother said it was because she had found work elsewhere. I was terribly saddened. I wish I'd had the chance to say goodbye to her, at least. What's your interest in her?
Oh, I was just curious, that's all. Did your mother try...
As a matter of...
What? But...
Yeah, I'm a...
No more questions for now.
Then if you don't mind, I have work to do.
Oh, Mr. Fordham, you're back.